CM 365, all about Carnatic music. Today I'm going to share with you something about a distinguished composer who lived before the time of the Trinity. Yes, you guessed it right. Sri Annamacharya. Now the Talapaka poets actually were a distinguished family of poets, musicians, music composers, and also scholars in Telugu and Sanskrit who lived in the 15th and 16th century. And they actually did much to popularize the Sri Vaishnavite faith in Andhra Pradesh. The greatest of these Talapaka composers, of course, was Sri Annamacharya, who lived a very long life, I would say, from 1408 to 1503. And he was born in Talapaka village, and that is why also he came to be known as Talapaka Annamacharya. As for the life and works of this great composer, luckily we have got to get some material about all this through a biography written by his grandson Chinnanna. And this mystic saint of the 15th century is the earliest known musician who has actually composed the Sankirtanas in the praise of Lord Venkateshwara, the deity of Tirumala. And he actually composed about 32,000 Sankirtanas, 12 Shatakas. Shataka means a set of 100 verses. And the Ramayana in the form of a Dvipada, then the work Shringara Manjari and Venkatachala Mahatmyam. And these are basically in Telugu and Sanskrit. And all these compositions that he composed, actually, he wrote them on the palm leaves. And later on, his son, Thirumalacharya, got them engraved on the copper plates. Now, this, I think, is one of the greatest boon that if it was just on the palm leaves, probably it would have just got lost or destroyed. But then, having them engraved on copper plates is what that has helped in terms of preservation of these beautiful compositions. But it's also very, very interesting to see that for reasons unknown, these copper plates actually they lay hidden in a rock built cell opposite to the hundi in the Tirupati temple. And for almost 400 years, this whole work has been unnoticed. Nobody knew about this work and that they were engraved in copper plates and they were behind here in the temple itself. And it was only in 1922 that 25,000 copper plates containing about 14,000 of his Sankirtanas and other works were found here. And later, this particular place itself came to be known as Sankirtana Bhandararakam. And after finding the lost treasure, we see that Tirupati Devasthanam has taken a lot of, I would say, efforts in terms of popularizing the works of Annamacharya. And how did they do it? They did it by making popular musicians and composers set them to tune and also to sing them. In this, we could say that the contribution of the Andhra musicians has been very prominent in the sense that Dr. Sripada Pinakapani set to tune wonderful tunes, I would say, many of the Annamacharya compositions, and a few other names. Of course, I'm not mentioning everybody, but which comes to my mind, Voleti Venkateshwaralu, then Nedunuri Krishnamurti, and many such people. And also, of course, we also remember the monumental contribution of Dr. M.S. Subbulakshmi and Dr. Balamurali Krishna, who actually helped in reaching out this Annamacharya Kirtanas to the nook and corner of the world through their inimitable and beautiful style of rendition. So, thus, we see that the compositions of Annamacharya actually are voluminous, but also we have to remember here that there certain ragas have been mentioned in these copper plates, and I will be talking about it in another episode. And the names of the ragas which are mentioned here, again, it's important to understand that only the name of the ragam is mentioned, so we do not have any notation as to how these songs actually sounded. So every musician uses his own bit of thought process. The composer uses his own imagination to see how best which raga would be suitable for putting tune to these compositions, and that's how it has been set to tune by many composers. Also, as I mentioned, some of the ragas names which are mentioned are no more in vogue, so we also do not know about the picture of how these ragas sounded. So in the contemporary ragas, whatever ragas are prevalent today, based on that we see that musicians and composers have set them to tune. We look into the content of these compositions in terms of their musicality as well as the lyrics in a subsequent episode.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.